Sup? It's Tracker Joe. And yes, I'm just going to keep changing it. As you can see, Sumo is hard at work, ready to bring me some more iron. Maybe. Oh yeah, we're about to strike iron again. And that's perfect timing too, because this episode, I plan on making a rover. And possibly setting up a 3D printer, but I don't know if I'll have that much time. It depends on how quickly I can build that rover. I think maybe I should just build things from scratch. Because basically what I want is a rover that is going to be able to house a specific design that I have in mind at least. I think I have an actual blueprint for an atmospheric miner that I will use for this, since I already built one by hand. And this rover will help me save on energy, and possibly even be able to at least recharge a couple times like my atmospheric mining attempts, and allow me to actually transfer ore to and from my base in an efficient way, without actually spending that much power. I can make this work with my base because it's actually really close by, and I can make many trips without it being too much of a power cost. But in the case of like the mining ship that I have planned, I'm going to want something to at least shorten the distance, and in the interim, before I even have the miner built, I can still hand mine things and it will be much faster because I don't have to go back and forth between here and there. So I'm going to start things as usual with the landing gear. I apparently don't have one. I am going to have to actually go and remove this entire thing at some point. Not large grid, I want a small grid landing gear. And if I place it just right, it'll actually lock. And that's one of the advantages of this. And I want to be able to just place down a framework here and come up with a base, maybe lift it up a bit, actually. And ignore the thing, and just go off to the side. And let's say the frame actually starts here. I need it to be lifted off of the ground, otherwise I won't be able to get underneath it, so I need to be able to stand under this. And we'll just kind of start with the wireframe that kind of extends out the front and back. Yeah, I feel like this makes sense. Kind of built like a tank though. So if I go for the ones that are supposed to be on this right, this one should be set up properly. So like this, I just believe that just goes there. Same placement. No, it's actually off to the left slightly. So this is a weird exploit. So with these wheel blocks, and I would say just don't use this ever. When you place down a wheel block, it only takes one steel plate, but the wheel that it generates has another extra steel plate. In fact, let me just check my inventory. I have 245 here, and so that's 245 steel plate. Now I place another right thing, and this actually extends out. The back one doesn't. So I had 245, I have 244. There is a steel plate here and there's a steel plate there. So every time you hit add wheel, you're actually creating just a free steel plate. Now of course, I could just have like a 1x1 wheel and a grinder set up next to each other and just have it constantly add a wheel and grind itself. But that would be, honestly, that's just invalidating the whole point of the game. But yeah, I've seen creations actually use this exploit, even on a rover, and I never really agreed with it. So yeah, Okay, so looking at this, if I just create a flat platform, I'm going to have to weld all of this by hand, which is going to be very frustrating to do, if I'm going to be honest. So, wish me the maximum luck with that. I'm going to actually need it. Well, I just barely completed this much with all the energy I had.
No energy.
Thank goodness it's so warm here on this ice lake. Okay, I think I have finished my welding. I'm probably going to weld this up in a special sequence so that I can name things properly, like have the front and back wheels, for example, be separate, and like have like the bumper wheels kind of be separate too. I don't know if these bumper wheels are going to help, but maybe, just maybe, it'll prevent a destructive crash. We'll see. So, I'm going to interrupt my project for a moment because really, like, I need to get the most out of all the ore that I'm mining because there's a pretty finite amount, and while Sumo can definitely gather it in mass, I actually don't have that many sources of iron. So I'm going to be going and adding some yield modules onto this, which will probably increase the power costs and possibly put me into the deficit. Hopefully not. If it does, I'll have to think of something. I guess I'll do it like this. Just do these one at a time. Oh, superconductors. What do superconductors need? It's only superconductors, isn't it? Well, how many superconductors do I have queued? 160. Why am I not producing superconductors? Production. Let's see here. Assembler 5. That is because they require gold. Do I have any nearby gold deposits? I have magnesium and silicon here. I have an iron node. Another I'm getting a lot of ladybugs. Silicon, magnesium, magnesium, nickel. Okay. Maybe I should add a large grid, yeah, there's a risk of claying with this, but maybe I can just add a large grid, ore detector to the side. So instead of having a second cockpit to, like, the right side, I could just have an actual, like, large grid ore detector mounted there. And that would allow me to actually search for and find stuff pretty effectively. I kind of want to go into this Guardian Tower and get a closer look at this. Okay, that's pretty small. I wonder if that's worth going after. Maybe. I don't have the resources to go after it though. So, but yeah, maybe I could just have an ore detector mounted to the side here, and it would take some doing just to get a large head onto a small rotor. I could instead try to attach a large rotor onto a small head, and that could also work. Wait a second. Passenger seat, small control seat. That's weird. So I could just put this new block here. I could use this small control seat. But it's also like I don't actually have anything for that. While I kind of want to use this industrial cockpit just because it looks cool. So if I put this off to the left, that should leave me with a bit of space. I can also like set this up using a vent, either on the top or the sides. I don't know if I'll be adding the vent on the top. Also, you can actually access the inventory from both of these, so that's kind of useful. Now I need to just figure out how I'm going to mount a large grid ore detector to this. This is actually really just too big. Donk. So there, that's the ore detector. I hope that doesn't clang out when I figure out the stuff. That seems to be about right. I could put a rotor head here. I don't know if that's good. I mean, it's going to look a little weird, but now I just gotta figure out where I can place blocks. I'm feeling like it has to be like this. And I need the actual connection to be a little higher. If I do this right, this is going to be so glorious. Oh, I'm so nervous. I don't think this is going to attach. Nope. It's not going to attach. Come on. So like this, maybe? That's going to sit squarely. Oh, that's going to cause so much clanging. I'm feeling like I'm about to cause an explosion. So, let me actually save this. Let me save this so that you can see me do it. And then go to the rotor. It's clanging out. Of course it's clanging out. If I remove this, clanging is gone. Okay. Okay. I think I'm getting somewhere. I'm going to just build this so that I don't lose it. Okay, so what you just witnessed was me figuring out how to attach a large grid part. And it looks stupid, but it works. So I would say that it isn't stupid. Oh dear. So as you can see, I have a space for my sensor. I was thinking of spinning the sensor, but I realized this sensor is just too big to spin. Like, look at that. I'm actually going to need to actually build this thing. Look at this. I'm going to have a large grid ore detector on this. But probably before I do anything like that though, this rotor, let's set your braking torque on. Your rotor lock is going to be on, and I'm going to turn this block off so that it doesn't draw power. Meanwhile, this ore detector... Oh jeez. So I can use this to prospect for ore. I don't know how bad this is going to screw with my center of mass, but I'm just going to go with it. I'm also going to weld up the light armor blocks here. I mean, I can see like all this stuff that, like where I aim, so maybe I'll go and I'll make this look intentional. And that's going to give the appearance that it's flowing into itself. Or like at least that like it's intentional that this looks the way it does. Because it kind of looks like it's supposed to mount like this. Yeah, I'd say that makes it look more or less like it's intended and not just like an artifact of how I set things up. So now that I have some interior plate, let's just go and get some large cargo containers situated. I may as well just do full-blown large cargo containers. I'm thinking I'm going to want to center the back one. Or I guess rather I'm going to want to set these up so that they're interlinked. So like this. But I don't know if I can. No. Okay, I got a better idea. So these are going to actually like go out a little extra. But the idea is that I'm going to have at least 3 of these and then some medium cargo containers. But I'm going to bridge the gap here with...
Fuel low.
Oh, I'm low on fuel. I think that's centered. Oh yeah, it is. So I'm going to want this to be rotated. So that's like this. And that's just going to be how it's going to be. So that's the first large cargo container down. So that's just 2 of them. I'm thinking of having a 3rd and a 4th. Maybe even like using a couple small cargo containers. So for example, like medium one here could just fit in so well. And then a large one, I just have to make sure that I'm using the small side for the external connection. So like that. And then I could probably do the exact same thing. Nope, I can't. Okay. I think that's actually all I have. That's all she wrote. Well, I guess this is what the cargo arrangement's going to be. Super small, super simple, and then I can just run some tubes going from the side here, which I can probably also set up. I guess I could just put it going down and then have it go and reach the underside as well. Yeah, this though, I should be able to easily manage by having it just withdraw air. I do not know if that's ever going to be an issue though, because I think this thing has its built-in vents, but I never really want to risk it. And I might want to be able to use this on other planets, so there's also that. So having an air vent there, and just making sure that it has access to air, is going to be useful. Oh, I think I've just about run through all of the resources here. Now I just need to put in... Oh, I got a lag spike. What is this? Stormfire. Oh, that looks big. Oh, that's so tempting, but I can't. I just don't have anything that could intercept that. Oh, it's teasing me, actually. Also, oh, I have so much, like, I have so many problems with how my inventory is actually set up. If I put that there, then it would be centered. I was worried it wasn't going to be. Hey, it's Wily Coyote here. That is... I thought I could get in close, but I guess I'm not going to get in close to make that look clean. Okay. At least it looks like it's attached just directly in a way that looks intentional. But geez, I'm just going to have to focus on having an outer layer of armor and not have to worry about like the exposed bits later. I could like make a blueprint of this or something. I don't know. I gotta put on some batteries now that I have all this done. And so, yep. So there's a battery here. I actually can't fit more than one of them. Well, disappointment. Disappointment. Like, I could put one there, but look at that. That's going to clang out. I can't actually put anything there. I can put one battery there and then stack that battery. But it's like, I actually need power storage if I'm going to want to make this work. Okay. Well, I don't actually have direct access to this side anyway, so putting the batteries here actually makes a little bit of sense, I think. So that's going to be the power situation. This thing's just an ugly agglomeration of parts now. Ugh. This battery is going to be the one that sticks out, and it's going to be flush with where the actual hole is going to be. I'm likely going to readjust this so that it's actually fitting with the shape a little more. So these internal batteries are going to be internal batteries. And I'm not going to be able to place another because I placed this just one block too close. But if I were to try to change that now, it would just mess things up, so... Is this really going to be like my first rover on this save? It is. It is. Okay. How am I can't crash this thing. If I crash this thing, it's over. Okay, that's not true, but I'm not getting a blueprint of this thing. I'm not going to make a blueprint of this thing. At least not until I've made it properly. This thing is still in need of quite a few parts, like pistons that extend downwards and latch. Oh! What are those? We have some assertive ships, apparently. Okay. What's going on here? Alright, go here. Please tell me. Oh, this... Come on. Take it out. Oh, I really need to get, like, the muzzle flash and stuff. Please tell me that it's hitting... Oh yeah, it is. If I just... weld this back up. Oh, that was glorious. So we got a sparrow. Ah. Okay. Where are we being attacked from? Oh, it's being an observer. Well, so it turns out that I really did need to build. I really did need to build that. Is there anything left of value? Atmospheric thruster. Don't mind if I do. I'm going to have to go and deal with that. I didn't expect to have to do that so soon. Maybe I'm going to have to, like, build a little scout drone or something and check it out, because that's... Oh, geez. Well, I'm gonna grab all of the scrap I can. This, though, I'm just gonna leave the chunks. My beautiful ice lake is tainted. I'm still going to try to rip all the functional components, aka that one steel plate. Oh, the signal's gone. Oh, geez. Well, I'm glad I reacted to that properly, but, like, geez, let me just grind some steel plates and use it to repair that decoy. Turns out that actually worked perfectly. As soon as it got within range, it fired at the decoy and not at the turret, and so the turret was able to make light work of it. I'm at least happy about that. This is probably going to hang around for a while until I get a proper salvaging operation. Look at that. That's just... Yeah, and I guess now I just have to go and check the turret and make sure that that's okay. Look at that, like the bullet holes. Yeah, it hit nothing else. Everything is pristine except for the decoy. Yeah, I like watching that knit itself back together. Sumo is off doing some work. let me just take a look here and figure out what I have to do to complete this thing. I think I'm going to leave this thing bare bones, at least for the time being. These batteries seem fine. So that means I need to mount the rear-mounted connector, and I think the best way to do that would be to add another small cargo container, well, a medium one, small grid medium cargo container, which means I have to grab the parts for that, and then adding the conveyor to the back of that. I think that's all I'm going to need to actually get this to work. And then I wanted to do some armoring, but I might save that for the next episode because I have spent so much time just trying to record this, and with numerous crashes, I just kind of want to have something that works. So I'm just gonna build the minimum of what I need. Also, yeah, they group those up. I'll also go through my groups or something for next episode as well. But since I'm kind of sort of under siege right now, I can't really skip that much time off camera anymore. So I'm just going to hope that the industry that I have right now has taken off enough that I'm able to continue like this. I'm going to need this antenna. So I'm going to take one and I'm likely going to mount it so that it's like this. Yeah, I could just mount it like that. And it could have a spotlight above it, because I'm going to need like spotlights and proximity lights anyway. So that means that if I turn this on, I suddenly can see all of the ores around me, including the cobalt, and I'm pretty certain that's outside of Sumo's range. So that's kind of important. I'm gonna turn that off since that uses a little bit of extra power. And yeah. I guess in the meantime I could just not worry at all about adding the script on and just focus on how I'm going to hook it up to the base. Also, transport carrier. That base by that magnesium deposit, that's what I'm afraid of. So anytime I see a red light, like blip appear on my radar, I'm instantly afraid for my life. It's like I have to go to one of the turrets or risk losing something because they fly so fast. Like they're not speed limited at all. So now that I have this set up, what else? Well, okay. I'm going to want something that extends out from here and goes up at some point. So like just a connector that allows me to dock a ship, but I can worry about that in the next episode. Really what I should be doing is this. Also, yeah, I did weld a block up without realizing. That's saved. So this seems okay. I would add a rear facing thing, but I could probably get away with third person too. Let's see, how could I power this thing? And I should be able to get this thing to charge. Yep, there we go. So yeah, and despite anything that I might have said before, this recording actually is quite a ways after. So yeah, I'm just gonna drive this thing. So if I go into groups, I have to have drive wheels. I'm going to want to increase and reduce suspension. We're going to increase height offset and decrease height offset. So that's going to adjust our actual height for when we connect with the connector. And then I'm going to want things like rear wheels steering on and off. So steering on and off, because I might want to enable those depending on how fast I'm going. In addition to all that, I'm going to want to get my only connector and have an on-off and a switch lock on that, just so that it can connect to that dock. And I should actually slap a camera on this as well, especially since it's getting dark. So where could I put that? I'm gonna be super simple and say, let's just grab some blocks and I'm just gonna add a camera this way too. And what we're going to do is probably something like this. Oh, imagine if I can get upgraded tools. And then I could just say camera view, and that should give me a rear view. Yep. I'm just gonna angle towards this connector. There we go. Okay. And I can just lower suspension. There we go. That's a lock. Locked. And then I probably should get the battery. These batteries, which this is just going to be called car batteries. And I'll just set them to recharge this time. And I'm also going to add a second hotbar here and just say car batteries recharge on off. And I'll just have that be like the default. So yeah, and if you can see here, I really did have to lower a lot just to get to that connector. But I was able to do it, even if it's just barely. So now what should happen is that these batteries, if I check, this is going to recharge in 10 minutes. This one is going to deplete in 15 minutes. Less time for this, but that's going to recharge in 1 minute. So I should have 5 minutes of power left after recharging these batteries, and then that'll be that. Yeah, I would say I'm happy that I've managed to pull this off. So in the next episode, I'm not actually sure what I'm going to be doing. I could be adding turrets to this. There are a couple places where I could easily add turrets. And then once I have the turrets on it, I could just go out into the wild and maybe mine some iron using it, test out its effectiveness. I mean, a major advantage this would bring would be my ability to bring along as much hydrogen as I want, and as well as keeping my oxygen and power at normal levels. But I also have the threat of the drones that occurred this episode, so I can't necessarily ignore those in my decision making. But yeah, for what this is though, I'm quite satisfied that I was able to come up with something that actually seems to be viable. So yeah, ignoring that unknown signal, which I will surely investigate at the start of next episode. See ya.